This is my Leuteneggeri hybrid fir. It's a cross of grand fir and white fir, or abies grandis and abies concolor. And I'm making this video about this tree because I want to give some caution about certain shipping practices or just shipping in the colder months of winter, because this is what could happen to yours. So, story starts off, ordered this in about mid-late January, and it finally shipped at the tail end of January, which, of course, there was a horribly cold winter storm that spanned pretty much the entire country, and it got caught up in a UPS truck and ended up being delayed one day en route from Oregon, where the grower is, uh, delayed one day en route all the way to South Carolina, where I am. So being stuck in the back of a cold truck, single digit temps or lower possibly. And by the way, this tree is on abies firma rootstock. So if it was on its own roots, it probably would have been more cold tolerant. But abies firma is a warmer climate tree, and it probably did not like that. So I think that possibly caused some issues with this tree, which led to this, which started about a week and a half to 2 weeks after arrival. And this is probably, this isn't all the needles. There's a ton that have just, they're everywhere. This is just what I cared to collect, and then I just gave up at a certain point. But it started dropping about a week and a half to 2 weeks after delivery, and the rate just started increasing and increasing. You could just blow on it and needles would fall. Perfectly green. These have dried out a little bit, so they look worse, but they look just like what you're seeing on the tree right now. Healthy, plump, full, juicy, and they would just drop straight to the ground. You could just look at it and they would fall off. So I didn't panic at first. That was some standard stress, but then as the rate increased, I really started panicking, and after about a week of drop, I contacted the nursery, shipped it, and I had actually previously contacted the nursery before they shipped her as they were en route and said, hey, I have some concerns about their viability after shipping in this weather, and he was pretty confident they would come through okay, which, just an update, this came from the same nursery, Weeping White, Pendula Bruns, Weeping Serbian, and a Sky Trails. They had very, very minor signs of stress after arriving. They dropped just a few needles, but nothing like this, which, by the way, these are all probably on Norway spruce rootstock, so a little more cold hardy. But we started getting discussions, and I showed him the videos and on. He's promised to send me a new one. We're going to try it for this week now that, it's early March and some of the cold weather is finally blowing through. But what I'll tell you is, after doing a little more research, something I found out about this tree, or grand fir, one of the parents of this tree, is it has a fairly high respiration rate and transpiration rate. And the box this shipped in during its 8 to 9 day trip from Oregon in a dark environment was completely sealed. Other than where a strap was going through the box to hold the pot in place on this thing. So it essentially had no fresh air coming in and out. It's sharing the box with these guys. It was a pretty crowded situation. And also the box was coated in this tree's oils. It just kind of goes hand in hand with its transpiration rate. These needles are, I guess you'd say, very leaky, and they like to breathe a lot. So they will give their oil to the cardboard box in a second. So, doing a little research too, the higher the transpiration rate, the higher the buildup of ethylene waste gas from the tree. And what happens if you're in a dark sealed box for about a week with a bunch of waste gas being built up? The tree starts to choke, it gets stressed, and the natural response of the tree afterwards is to start dropping needles. The more and more I think about this, the more I think this tree dropped needles because it couldn't breathe in the box. And why I think that is because at first I was thinking maybe the tree was completely dead. But we have signs of life on the buds. Early March, it's actually starting to wake up and swell before every other tree. You can see center of camera, there's a little green showing. Right, so here's buds that are not awake yet, how they look. So that green, Even some of these are starting to stretch a little bit. So the root system is not completely compromised, and it's sending pressure up through the tree for bud swell. Which, I mean, it could be a combination of both, guys, but I definitely think both had some form of a contributing factor. And, you know, something else that could have happened is it could have been the freezing temps. If this thing has a high transpiration rate, the top of this thing could have been awake when the root ball was frozen, right? It could have just kind of got a little drier than it wanted to. So, I mean, we have a lot of possibilities, but I really do think all of them contributed to each other. So the nursery owner, he's going to send me a replacement this week. He agreed to my request to put some holes in the box. So it's going to ship in nice fair weather. It's going to have holes and ventilation in the box. Hopefully there won't be any delays with UPS. But I will say, if this is a long haul for this tree, if it you know has a respiration rate as high as it is, I wish I could afford 2-day shipping, but something this size, I mean, it's ridiculous, the price. So we're just going to try UPS ground, and you know, when the replacement comes in, I'll watch it for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and if everything looks good, you know, I'll give him a shout out and definitely give him props. Right now we're just going to kind of wait and see how this goes, but you know, the other trees are looking fine. You know, just something with the situation with this. And guys, just you know, heads up, check the weather. I made the mistake of shipping in winter, or buying in winter, because I read articles saying winter's a great time to ship. You know, trees are dormant, this and that. And if you can catch it during the mild, you know, weather, that's fine. But yeah, it's just too unpredictable with the winter storms. Maybe December, you know, early December might be safe, but yeah, January, February, yeah, probably don't do it. Wait until March. That's what all the big growers like Isley do. And make sure your boxes have ventilation. I'll tell you some growers that I know use ventilation. One is Conifer Kingdom, and another is fastgrowingtrees.com. I've bought trees from other places too, but those are the only ones I've actually had got. Some of the places I'm close enough to just drive up and buy them from that are shipped to, like Mr. Maple. So I don't know if they do ventilation or not. But alrighty, guys. But I'll follow up with an update in the future. I'll let you know how this thing goes.